So what was it like getting to play Martian Manhunter opposite Carl Lumbly?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, that's probably been the highlight of my season so far. It's working with Carl. He's such a lovely man, great actor. And because he's also very familiar with the character, it's been a bit like, you know, sitting there chatting about John Jones all day. It's been a Jones off. But he's such a great actor, and he's a really nice man. And I'm really enjoying playing those scenes with him, and finding lots of new colours with the character. And I think, as you'll see in the next episode, the one after, and he has quite a major impact on my character. So, yeah, I'm enjoying getting out of Hank's head and into. He's kind of reminding me that I'm a 100-year-old Martian, and reminding me of what I'm capable of. So it's kind of fun.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, now that John has brought his father to Earth, like how is that going to affect his working relationships and his other personal relationships?
Yeah, unfortunately I think one of the episodes was a bit long, so they had to lose my storyline last week, but there was slight conflict with Carl and me in that he fears that I'm kind of losing touch with my kind of Martian heritage, and there's a little bit of conflict there. That even though I'm, you know, on Earth, he just believes that I'm becoming too detached from my Martian way of life, and I think that has an effect going forward because. You know, having got his father back, I think he's very keen to kind of get to know him. But just like with most relationships, I mean, I find it with my relationship, you know, even though you spend so much time apart, it does take a while. When you get back together, it takes a while to find that groove. And I think with Carl and me, Jean and his father, I think it's taking a while for the two of them to kind of find their rhythm. But when they do, I think it's going to be fun. So it's a bumpy road at first, but I think they get there. You'll get it when you see it.
Since Jean has learned that his father is alive, is there part of him that hopes that maybe there might be more Martians hiding somewhere? More green Martians, I mean?
I think he's just very surprised. I think he was very surprised to know that there was one more left. I think he'd be very keen to see other green Martians. Thinking that he thought Miss Martian was green, but that wasn't quite how it turned out. But I think it's very, I'm really enjoying playing these scenes with Carl because, as you say, he's not the last green, and not only is there is another green, but that green is his father, who knows him very, very well. So there's some nice little nuances between me and him that come out, and I hope stay in because it's been really fun working with him and just seeing how different his approach to the work is. It's been really fun.
Will this reminder or connection to his Green Martian heritage change or influence how he sees the Legion when they eventually come in?
I don't know about that, but I do know that it has a big effect on Jean. Mm-hmm. The idea that, and it's really interesting actually, because it made me go back to reading the comics. But he's been Hank Henshaw now for 50-odd years, or 30-odd years, and I think he's slightly got caught up in that one identity when he's used to having hundreds of identities. And I think his father reminds him that he's perhaps got a little bit too caught up in the one identity. Mm-hmm. And what's been nice to play is that a sudden awakening of Jean that his father creates, that he's starting to realise that it's not all about the DEO. Life's not all about protecting the Earth from external forces. And there are other superheroes that can do that. And I just think Jean, maybe looking to get the impression that Jean is, from where I left him the last time, is that he's kind of just realizing that how, because Carl told me, in fact it was Carl who told me this, that in, I think his last episode when he played Martian Manhunter, the Martian Manhunter decided to give it all up and go marry an Asian lady and go and live in, the Philippines or something, as a normal person, because that's what he finds interesting. He doesn't find saving the world. All these things of saving the world and fighting aliens and, just loving somebody. I think that's the kind of character that John Jones is. That's why I like playing him, is that he has other interests. And what I'm gathering from scenes with Carl is that he's kind of remembering this about himself, that why am I being Hank Henshaw for the last 50 years? There are other things in life to do. So, that's what I think he's exploring.
You mentioned that made you go back and kind of get back into the comics. Were there any particular arcs or anything, or like stories that really influenced this part of your character's kind of journey? Yeah,
there was. I really liked the Ostrander Martian Manhunter series. Brilliant book. And there's a couple of stories in there where just things that stick out. Where he says, he trained as a philosopher as well as a manhunter, and that he's always looking at both sides of the argument. And I think that's kind of what I'm saying, is that he's just slightly got into thinking one way. And I think that having his father remind him of his heritage has kind of enabled John to just take a step back and be a bit more relaxed about life, and maybe a bit more philosophical about things. Hopefully that can play out in some of the scripts.
So, one of his roles is sort of as a father figure for Alex, and so in the wake of her breakup, sort of how does their relationship how does their relationship sort of change, or is he, how does he sort of react to that and go into that father figure role?
Again, we don't really delve into that, which we don't really go into that. Maybe we should, but we haven't really done that.
Is there going to be a point where we get to introduce your father to some of the things about Earth that maybe he doesn't know? Chacos?
Yes, there's some highly comedic moments coming up where he kind of gets, he's familiarizing himself with various Earth customs. Carl's great. I think he's a real cast favourite. We've had lots of guests, and we've been very lucky with guests. But Carl's been great, and everyone really loves working, being around him, so he's very welcome. He's been a lot of fun.
Do you get to participate in the crossover at all?
I didn't, no, which is a shame. There'll be no John Jones in the crossovers. People get very upset about that. That's how it is.